Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing drugs must be included in your income on Schedule 1 if from your self-employment activity. If you're self-employed as a drug dealer and doing illegal things, make sure we get our cut. If you made the drug money, fine, but pay taxes on it. Make sure we get our cut. They want a cut. Give us our portion. Pay us for it. We want a cut. We want a cut. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it. Remember, if you steal, you gotta pay the government. They want their cut. If you sell drugs or if you steal from people, just pay us a portion of it. Come on, give it to me now. Make sure we get our cut. Give us our portion. We want a cut. Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I'm Papa Pepper. Today I've got a little bit different one coming to you, but I wanted just to kind of add some commentary to some articles I saw, to just kind of some things going on in the world, and give you guys my perspective on that. It's amazing some of the stuff that people say, and it's amazing the response that people have when they just kind of eat it up hook, line, and sinker and go along with it. We're going to be talking about how the IRS views illegal activities, and that's kind of part of it, but I'm going to save that one for the end. I've got a couple great ones to go through first, so I'm going to get right into it. Check this out. From CNBC. Despite work-life balance buzz, disconnecting to spend time with your kids could severely impact your future wages. So this is kind of part of what's been propagated in our society for a very long time now, that work is more important than family. And a simple way I can prove this is, what do they ask children when they're very little? Do they say, like, can you wait to be a father or a mother? Do they ask them that? No. They say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They ask small children, what spoke do you want to be in our wheel? What do you want to do for a job? How do you want to make money? And they make that the focus of life. Now, granted, the government school system, a lot of what gets pushed through their kind of curriculum and stuff comes from the Department of Labor. So it's trying to make good little employees as part of the undertone of the whole thing. So this shouldn't be surprising, but it's amazing that, this is kind of CNBC here, that, oh man, if you try to spend time with your children, that's going to negatively affect your wages. Okay? You can make a lot more if you put in your 40 hours a week and then work a couple extra days after that, or stay late every day and get up there in like the 60 hours a week. Get that overtime. That's going to be a really good way to provide for your family, especially if you want your kids to have money instead of a mom or a dad, right? If that's more important. Absolutely insane that this is the belief, but worse is that people fall for this stuff. Oh, I just want to make sure I get my career straight before I start having children. Oh, I just want to do this, and people are completely free to do that. But if your job is the main thing that you find your fulfillment in, you better be careful. Companies go under. People get fired. You may be a non-essential worker if we go through a bunch of stuff again. So if that's the whole purpose of your identity, is to be a cash cow for somebody else, I would be careful. Now, people are free to do whatever they want. I personally find a lot more enjoyment in being the husband to my wife and the father to my children, rather than flipping burgers, roofing houses, driving a forklift. I've done those things, can do those things. I think it's better to hang out with my kids than to go make a pizza, though. And I would rather do things like avoid debt, which we'll get to in a minute, so then I don't need to pay a whole bunch in interest where I have to trade my life away from my family to go make money just to give to the bank to pay interest. Very interesting that that's kind of and people fall for it. I fell for it. I don't want to be on that trap, on that little hamster wheel going around and around. I'd rather do something else. So it took a lot of kind of detoxing from the current American dream, but I was able to do it, and I hope that other people do too. But remember, if you try to spend time with your children rather than working, that might affect your wages. Be careful out there. From Market Watch, it doesn't seem fair. I have $131,000 in student loans and can't afford my life, despite making $110,000 a year. How to get out of student loan debt faster. My favorite part of that one is the opening line. It doesn't seem fair. There's nothing fair about anything, really, okay? Life isn't fair. We don't have to have equality of outcome, you know? Different things can happen to different people for different reasons. There's only so much that we can control, but also, what do you mean it doesn't seem fair? You're the person who chose to take out $131,000 in student loan debt. That's very dangerous. It's amazing too. I seen a tweet, I think it was from Elon Musk, when he says, when you can have an 18-year-old who can't get a $10,000 business loan, but can get a $100,000 student debt loan, there's a problem. And I absolutely don't like debt in the first place, but I do agree with that. You know, some people don't want to exactly be indoctrinated by the required courses at the college. Some people don't want to run through that gauntlet. Some people have good ideas on their own, and a lot of the people who do rather well are the ones who never went to college or dropped out of college. So remember that. Unless you are specifically called to do some sort of job that requires a further education, I'd be careful. But also, as this person's, lamenting, you're going to have debt if you do it at the cost of a loan. So they've got $131 in student loans and can't afford their life, even though they make $110,000 a year. And I'll tell you what, I bet you that $131,000 in student loan debt is only a small piece of the pie. I bet you they have credit card debts. They maybe have a mortgage by this point. If they've got $110,000 a year that they're making, they're paying interest for the house too. Most likely, probably for the car, credit cards, car, house, education. They don't really own any of it, and they're kind of paying to play, and they're paying a whole lot extra because of the interest. You got to be careful for this. I remember we chose to buy a $60,000 house back in about 2011. 2010. It was our choice, and I was already like 30. We were about to have our first child, and we were looking at an $80,000 house. Now, we were trying to get by on one income and doing good. I was the sole provider, and I was actually paying for Mama Pepper to go to school at the time. But we were looking at an $80,000 house and a $60,000 house. And as I was doing the numbers, I said, we better be careful. If we choose that $80,000 house, we better make sure we really like it, because there's not going to be a lot extra to go around to live life. Like, that house is going to be where we live and spend our free time and exist for a very long time, because we're not going to be out, going on vacations or going to the movies or eating out or things like that. We're just going to be in our house, because that would be the choice we make. Now, we did wind up getting a house that was $60,000 instead, and eventually I even became uncomfortable with that. And we sold the house to get out of the only debt we had. But the point is, I could swing the payments on a $60,000 house as opposed to an $80,000 one. There was still extra for us, where we had two vehicles. We were taking like a 2-week trip to Texas every year from Wisconsin. We were doing as we saw fit, having a lot of freedom. If somebody is thinking about these things and being like, I'm going to have huge payments there, that's what you signed up for. Your goal was to have that particular education for $131,000 in debt still, and to go get this job that pays you $110,000 a year. That was your choice. So if you don't have any life besides that, you didn't focus on having any life besides that. That's what you signed up for. So to say it's not fair that I got what I signed up for, guys, people are foolish. That's a pretty dumb thing to say. I'm not trying to be mean, but it is. You got exactly what you signed up for. And if you were too young or uneducated or naive to realize it, that means you got taken advantage of. People get taken advantage of all the time. I would rather not take advantage of people, nor have people get taken advantage of. All I can do is try to encourage them not. But we can't force people. So, maybe unplug a little bit, step back from the picture, be like, hey, I'm not going to be able to afford this debt. I have no guarantee of getting a good paying job. Even if I get a good paying job and then decide to take out a mortgage on a huge house or, an expensive house, and then have an expensive car and stuff, I'm trading a lot of my life just to pay interest, and I'm not going to have a lot left. So is it fair? Yeah. Is it unfortunate? Yeah. But if you choose unfortunate things, it's not going to go good for you. Books deemed harmful to staff and students are being removed from Region's public school libraries. Now that is a lot of fun, isn't it? removing the books from the public school libraries. Why? To hide information, to hide ideas. It's easier to program people if you restrict the amount of ideas they're able to be exposed to. Why can't you cite Wikipedia for a lot of college courses and stuff like that? Because anyone can go in there and change it. People just go in there, they change it all the time. They remove things from, your availability to access. Even that's why a lot of people like using a VPN when they're on the internet, because a lot of things that are banned for you to see, you can get if they don't know where you are or if they think you're in some other country. You gotta watch out. Information, guys, can be dangerous. And that's why they don't want you to have it. Because if you have information, you can become educated, you can know things and learn things and realize things, and then you're going to be a lot harder to control. You're going to be a lot harder to program, a lot harder to be the spoke in the wheel that they want you to be. And you can kind of become your own person, doing your own thing, rather than just being brainwashed into going with their flow and their propaganda. I know that sounds kind of interesting, but that's the reality of it, guys. Look at some of the things that people from the higher ups in the government overseeing the Department of Education have said before. It's not reading, writing, and math that they're trying to teach. They're trying to have another agenda. They're trying to shape the type of person you are rather than just educate you. It's an indoctrination and, removing books. Who does that? Who censors free speech? Again, this is a public school library. The same library that would have a whole bunch of other things. A library at a government school. A school that should have the First Amendment, right? The freedom of speech. If you're taking books away from people, you're restricting the speech of a lot of our ancestors and those who came before us. It's the easy way to rewrite history. So much easier in the digital world, on the internet, but now it's happening in the physical as well, and it has been for a long time. There's a lot of older books, if you try to look up and find, they're very rare. A lot of them get destroyed, guys. From ABC 7, Eyewitness News, amid a spike in vehicle break-ins, some Bay Area car owners have been deliberately leaving their trunks open in an effort to avoid forced entry by thieves. This just shows the corruption of everything, guys. It shows the corruption of everything. When you decriminalize all sorts of drugs that ruin people's lives, I talk about people using them recreationally, but recreation is not R-E-C, it's W-R-E-C-K, because it ruins their life, it ruins things, it wrecks things. You decriminalize that, and then you take something like stealing. There's people filling shopping carts, walking out of stores with them. Nobody's doing anything from the employees, which again, an employee is just going to put their life on the line sometimes for the company. That's dangerous. You try to stop a criminal from doing something, you could die for it. There's not a lot of companies I would really want to die for if you think about it. Security guards kind of sign up to be more on that front line, and then of course police officers do even more so. But nobody's almost doing anything in some areas along the West Coast, the left coast. Here we got, California, the Bay Area, and things are getting so bad that the citizens are just leaving their vehicles open. Like, not only are they not locking them, they're actually leaving the door open. As far as I can tell, this is a real article. This is something that's really going on. You see, if somebody wants my stuff so bad that they're going to force entry, they're going to break a window, they're going to, mess up my locks, mess up my handles. These people are sick of having to repair their cars, and they just leave them open to give people open access to things. This is insane, and the worst part is, you look at California, there's people like Kamala Harris who say that they should be the model for the rest of the country. They should be the model for the rest of the country. That is insane. That's very dangerous. And part of the problem is it's getting so bad there, people are fleeing there, but if they don't change their minds, then they're going to reproduce that mentality other places. Very dangerous, guys. People should not steal from one another. And if they do, they should be punished. They should learn that it's wrong. A lot of times when the law of the land reflects the law of God, then there's a certain morality that mankind, the institutions, the powers that be, the stuff that's set up down here kind of reflects that morality and says, hey, let's not. But, take the Bibles out of school, make fun of people's beliefs when it's based on the Bible, promote a bunch of things like, honestly, if we are just stardust, if we are just a bunch of highly evolved monkeys, if we are things like that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If it is survival of the fittest, sure, go steal, go kill, go do whatever you want, because it doesn't matter. Don't think we really believe that. And if your actions don't reflect that belief, then I don't think you really believe that. From the IRS website, illegal activities. Income from illegal activities, such as money from dealing illegal drugs, must be included in your income on Schedule 1 if from your self-employment activity. And stolen property. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year. And as that Bay Area one kind of said about stealing, this is actually from the IRS website. I'm going to read it again. I know I read it with a voiceover, but listen to this. Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing drugs must be included in your income on Schedule 1 if from your self-employment activity. If you're self-employed as a drug dealer and doing illegal things, that's kind of fine. You know, you can go deal drugs illegally. Just make sure we get our cut. That's what the government's saying. Make sure we get our cut. It is kind of a way to, I don't know, have people self-incriminate themselves too. That's why we have the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent. I don't know if they're going to act on people being like, yeah, well, you know, sold a bunch of cocaine, made $240,000 last year, reinvested a good amount of it, but, you know, my net profit was $120,000. I don't know if they're actually going to follow through and try to have this be a form of incrimination for people, but they obviously, at the base level, the worst it could be on their part, you know, no matter what, they're at least getting pinned what they want to cut. They want to cut. If you made the drug money, fine, but pay taxes on it. Give us our portion. Guys, think about that. The government's saying if you do illegal activity and make money, pay us for it. We want a cut. We want a cut. Then it continues with stolen property, right? If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year. Now, here's the problem I have with that. Of course, I think stealing's wrong. Of course, I think that thieves should be punished, and they should have to return the thing to its rightful owner and make it right, or the equivalent thereof. You know, if they stole it and sold it, well, even if they only stole it for $700 or sold it for $700 because it was stolen, they still need to give, you know, back the $1,200 that the person originally paid the fair market value for it. But here's the thing. What if you stole something in January? Think about this. Think if you stole something this year. With inflation, ooh, by the time you end up, you know, at the end of the year, that thing could be worth, you know, 50% more. So do you have to give the fair market value at the time that you steal it? Or is it just for that year? Are they going to take the highest value as inflation continues and make you pay taxes on the fair market value of that thing in December when it costs 50% more? Because remember, they're just printing money and giving it out, causing everything to skyrocket as far as prices, really jacking up inflation. I don't know. I guess I'd have to talk to some sort of accountant on that, huh? Does anyone know? I'm not sure how long the IRS has been doing this for, but remember, if you steal and you don't return it that year, you gotta pay the government. They want their cut. What is that saying, guys? What is that saying about the country you live in? That they're gonna say, you know what, if you sell drugs, illegal drugs, or if you steal from people, just pay us a portion of it. That is insane. If somebody says, hey, I know I owed you $500, so I went out and stole $700 for somebody, I got $200 for my job well done, and here's your $500 back. I'm gonna tell them, I don't want that money. You stole that from somebody. You know, or, oh, hey, I know I owed you this, so I went out and killed someone, and here it is. I say, I don't want that, that's blood money. You murdered somebody for that. But apparently the IRS says, come on, give it to me now. Guys, that is insane. That is absolutely insane. But that's the world we live in. So if that's the example that we're having from the top, if these rules, like the stuff we got out on the West Coast, just decriminalizing everything. I don't know if you guys have saw some of the documentaries about drug dealers and stuff. It doesn't matter. If they don't have an amount on them that's bad enough for them to care about, they can just legally deal drugs all day because it's been decriminalized. Ruin lives. Make money doing it. Apparently give the government their cut. But no problem. All the stealing, all the looting, that's fine too. Suppose it'd probably even be mostly peaceful, looting. They don't do it with violence, just fill the cart and walk out of the store. It's just mostly peaceful looting. We approve of that these days, right? Regardless of the law of the land, I would highly recommend that you guys figure out what's right and obey it and seriously pass it on to your children. If your children go and get indoctrinated and just follow the letter of the law, it's not going to be good. If the state is saying you can go into that store and steal $300 worth of stuff and it doesn't matter, it's not a crime, that's going to encourage people to do it. People are going to be raised in that environment. When I grew up, it was illegal. It was known to be illegal. People still did it. But if you give them a green light, far more are going to do it, and it's going to continue to become more and more wicked. So I would just highly caution people against going with the flow these days. I don't know if any of you guys liked this. If you did, please leave a comment below. A little different for me. There's a lot of stuff I really want to say sometimes when I encounter things. If you did like it, I may periodically insert some videos like this, besides just, building chicken coops and raising sheep and growing a garden. There's other things that go along with life, so we kind of have it be kind of variety. If you guys did like this, though, let me know. And if you didn't, if you'd rather not hear this from me, feel free. And if you disagree about any of the things I said, please explain yourself in the comment section below. Of course, you're free to believe what you want, but let me know why. I don't mind rethinking where I'm at and being like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. I think my points are really valid on this, but I've always got room for improvement. Am I saying I'm better than anyone? No, I'm worse than a lot of people. But I think I've figured a few things out, and it seems to be working out pretty well. I'll see you next time. Papa out.
Watching. Hit the left button. Thumbs up. But well.
Income from illegal activities such as money from dealing drugs must be included in your income on Schedule 1 if from your self-employment activity. If you're self-employed as a drug dealer and doing illegal things, make sure we get our cut. If you made the drug money, fine, but pay taxes on it. Make sure we get our cut. They want a cut. Give us our portion. Pay us for it. We want a cut. We want a cut. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it. Remember, if you steal, you gotta pay the government. They want their cut. If you sell drugs, or if you steal from people, just pay us a portion of it. Come on, give it to me now. Make sure we get our cut. Give us our portion. We want a cut.